100, that's going to be 500 to the nearest 100. It's between 400 and 500. And if we do our normal rounding rules, there we are, it's a 7 after the line, so it's closer to 500. Write down a multiple of 8 that's between 41 and 60. Well, 40 is in the 8 times table, so the next one would be 48, and the next one after that would be 56. So we could have either of those two numbers, either would be fine. Let's just write 48 there. Change 1.5 kilometres into metres. There are 1,000 metres in every kilometre. So 1,000 metres equals 1 kilometre. So 1.5 would be 1,500 or 1,500 metres. Here's a list of numbers. Write down all the numbers that are a power of 3. So 3 is a power of 3. 3 squared would be 9. There we go, 9's in there. Times 3 again would be 27. 27's in there. And times 3 again would be 81. So 81's not in there. So it's 9 and 27. There we go. Write 19% as a fraction. So we could just write that as 19 over 100. It's the same as 0.19 or 19 over 100. Writing it as a fraction. There we go. Or it could ask us to write it as a decimal, which would be 0.19, but it does say as a fraction, so it's 19 over 100. There we go, that is 19%. Working out 20% of 80, always work out 10% first, so 10% is 8. Double that for 20%, so 20% equals 16, and there's our answer, 16. Next one, we've got a table, so it's 4 types of counters in a bag, and it shows how many counters are in the bag. So there are more green counters than red counters. How many more? So let's have a look. There are green circles, 26, and green squares. So the total of that, if we add them together for green, we have a total there of 33. And if we add together the reds, we have 16 add 11, which is 27. So more green counters than red, there are an extra 6 there. 33 take away 27 gives us 6. On to the next one. We have a fuel tank in a car and there's a gauge for it. The fuel tank holds 52 litres of fuel when it's full. The tank is a quarter full. How many more litres of fuel are needed to fill the tank? Well, let's have a look. A quarter of 52. If we divide 52 by 4, what do we get? 27 and half of that. It's not very nice, so let's do that on the calculator. So 54 divided by 4 gives us a quarter, and a quarter of that is 13.5. That means every little quarter here is 13.5, and we have 3 more of them to fill up. So if we do 13.5 and times that by 3, we get an answer on the calculator of 40.5 litres. There we go, that's how much more is needed to fill up the tank. Collecting some like terms, let's have a look. We've got 4e's and 7e's there. So adding those together, because that's a plus 7e, gives us 11e. And then having a look at the other letter separately, we have 6f take away 1f, and 6 take away 1 is 5, and that's positive 5, so it's 11e plus 5f. And that's our simplified expression there. Bill has 400 counters in a bag, and it says 35 of the counters go to Samina, 50 counters go to Henry, and 75 of the counters go to Lucas. What fraction are left in the bag? Well, let's work out how many he gives to them. So 35, 50, and 75. If we add them all together, 35 plus 50 plus 75 equals 160. And if we take that away from 400 to find out how many are left in the bag, 400 take away 160 leaves us with 240 counters in the bag. It says what fraction of the 400 counters are left in its simplest form. So 240 out of 400 are left as a fraction, and then to simplify that we could just type it into the calculator. Let's have a look at what that comes out as. 240 divided by 400 gives us 3/5. There you go, so 3/5 is our final answer. Again, you could actually divide that down. Let's have a look. The top and bottom both divide by 80, or you could keep dividing by 10 and 2 and simplifying it down, but 3/5 just straight on the calculator there, just typing it in. Okay, so the table shows the cost of sending a parcel by the express service and by the rapid service. So we've got our two services here, express and rapid. Brendan has to send 12 parcels. It will be cheaper to send the parcels by the express service than by the rapid service. How much cheaper? So if he's going to send 12 parcels, we want to times both of these by 12. We can do that on the calculator, so £15.25 times 12 gives us £183 for the express service, and £35.38 times 12 gives us £424.56 on the rapid service. So if we take them away from each other, 424.56, take away 183 on the calculator, leaves us with £241.56. Final answer there. Part B, Luke wants to send 21 parcels by the express service. He does the calculation 20 times 15 equals 300 to estimate the cost. Explain why Luke's calculation shows the actual cost will be more than 300. Well, let's have a look. That was using the express service. So how's he rounded that there? Now the express service is actually £15.25. It says that up the top. So the reason it's going to be more is because he's rounded it down. Okay, because Luke rounded the cost down. Okay, and he could say he rounded it down from the £15.25 to £15. Okay, and he's also rounded down the amount of parcels that he's going to send. So he's actually going to send 21 parcels here, and he's actually only done 20. So you could also say that as well. I would also put that in. He's also rounded down the amount of parcels. So he said less parcels and at a lower cost. So it's giving him a much lower cost there. Right, these three people share some money in the ratio 6, 9, 10. What fraction does Ben get? Well, Ben is the 9 there. If we underline that, Ben's the 9. We've got Ali getting 6, Ben getting 9, and Kathy getting 10. So Ben gets 9 out of, and if we add all of these up, the total there is 25. So he gets 9 out of 25 parts. So final answer, 9 over 25. The first term of a sequence of numbers is 24. The term-to-term rule is to add 8. No number in this sequence is in the 5 times table. Show that this Josie is wrong. So we could just keep going on. 24, add 8 gives you 32. Add 8 again gives you 40, and there we go. 40 divided by 5 equals 8 in the 8 times table. So there's an example. Is 85 a number in this sequence? Give a reason for your answer. So if we keep counting up in 8s, we will eventually here get to 80, and then we'll get 88 on the next one. So my answer would be no, okay, because 85 is between 80 and 88, so it can't be in the sequence. Finding the value of this on your calculator, always just work out the top first and write it down. So 5.27 plus 3.5. On the top there, that gives us 8.77. And on the bottom there, we've got 7.9, take away 4.36. And on the bottom there, that gives us 3.54. Okay, so obviously this line means divide, so 8.77 divided by that gives us a final answer here of 2.477401129943, and my calculator actually keeps on going. You would actually be limited on some calculators as to how much you could write down here. So that's going to be all that I can write down there. My calculator's actually showing me quite a lot. I've got a recurring decimal above the 7, but I know that some calculators actually won't let it go that far, so it will only show so many digits. So just write down all the numbers on your calculator, and there's that one. Right, you can use this rule to work out the charge of hiring this 3D printer. And it says here, in this formula, the total charge is the number of weeks times 70 and then add 50 at the end. So you're just going to hire it for 4 weeks to work out the total cost. So number of weeks is 4, times it by 70, and then add 50 at the end. So 4 times 70 is 280, add the 50, and that gets us a total cost there of £330. It says somebody else hires a 3D printer and the total charge is 680. For how many weeks do we hire the printer? Well, actually we could use a bit of algebra for this, or you could just use a bit of trial and error. You could try 5, 6, 7, 8 and just keep on going until you get there. But the quickest way here is to say, okay, well, x times a number, or 70x, 70 times this amount of weeks, add 50, has got to equal 680. And again, you could just guess numbers, times it by 70 and add 50 until you get there. But this is probably a little bit quicker. So take away 50 from both sides, tells us that 70x equals 630. and then divide by 70, which again you can do on your calculator, but 630 divided by 70 gives us 9. So that was divide by 70. Okay, just working the process backwards, but the answer there is 9 weeks. Right, here is a rectangle. It says the six-sided shape below is made using two of these rectangles. Work out the perimeter. So we've got the lengths and widths here of 6 and 4, so we can label the ones that we can see. We've got 4, 6, 6, 4, 6, another 4. We've just got to find this little gap here. So if the total length here is 6 and this part here is 4, then the little gap there has to be 2. And all we need to do is go around and add up all these numbers. So 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 4 is 14, plus 6 is 20, 24, 30, plus the 2 is 32. And that is in centimetres, there we go, so 32 centimetres would be our final answer there. Again, just show the working out the fact that you've added them all up, so 32 centimetres. So we've got an accurate scale diagram showing a telephone mast and a box, and it says the box has a real width of 1.5 metres, find an estimate for the real height. Now, the best way that you can do this is to measure this using a ruler, and then just measure the telephone mast using a ruler. But another way you could do it is you could measure the box, and then you could just, using your ruler, do a little dash for every height of the box. If we imagine stacking the box sideways there, the 1.5, and then you could just build it up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm not doing a very good drawing here, 6, 7, let's imagine that 8 fit in. Obviously you'll be able to do a better one on your paper, but if 8 boxes fit into the height of the mast, we do 8 times 1.5, and that would give us a height of 12, and that'd be in metres, so 8 lots of those boxes would fit if we stack them all on top of each other. Again, you'll be able to do a better one there with your ruler, but that's just an idea of how you could actually go about approaching that question. Okay, the next one, we've got an average from a table by the looks of it. It says here is some information about 30 students in a quiz. Find the modal number of points. Now, modal just means the mode, which is the most popular, and the most popular is this column here, so that is 2 points. So the most popular there is 2 because 7 people got that. The next one, so it says work out the total number of points scored. So we've got to do a bit of multiplying across here. We've got 4 people scoring 0, that's a score of 0. We've got 3 people scoring 1, that's a score of 3. 7 scoring 2 is 14. 5 scoring 3 is 15. 6 scoring 4 is 24. And 5 scoring 5 gives us 25. And if we add them all up, that's going to give us the total amount of points there. So 25 plus 24 plus 15 plus 14 plus 3 gives us 81. And we don't need to add the 0 in, do we, for this one? So 81. So our total amount of points scored there is our 81. On to the next one. So make x a subject, so we want it to say x equals. So just like solving an equation, I'm going to get rid of this 4 to start with, so I can start to get the x on its own. So we get y minus 4, which equals 2x. And if that's 2 lots of x, we can divide by 2 to get rid of that 2 there. So we get y minus 4, showing that that's been divided by 2, so divide by 2 like that, equals x. And you can rewrite that round the other way, so x equals y minus 4 divided by 2. And that's made x a subject. Okay, so the diagram shows A, B, D, E and an equilateral triangle. Work out the size of EBC. Okay, so it's a square. So if that's a square there and it goes from E to B, then these two angles must be split in half, and obviously it's a right angle in a square, so they'd both be 45. And then inside an equilateral triangle, all the angles are 60. So E to B to C being this angle here is going to be that 45 plus the 60. And don't forget to label everything on the diagram there, because you're going to get marks for that. So 45 plus 60 is 105 degrees. There you go, final answer 105. Right, so Liz goes on holiday to South Africa. She wants to change £850 into South African rand, and she wants us to get as many 200 rand notes as possible. The exchange rate is £1 to 18.53 rand. What's the greatest number of 200 rand notes that she can get for her £850? Well, there's our exchange rate. So for every pound we get 18.53 rand. So we'll do 850, multiply it by the 18.53, and that'll exchange that into rands for us. So 850 on the calculator times 18.53 gives us an amount of rand which is 15,750 not 0.3, 0.5. 750.5 50. There we go, and that's the amount of Rand that we get. So if we divide that by 200, because we want 200 Rand notes, that's going to tell us how many 200 Rand notes we can get. On the calculator, that comes out as 78.7525. Obviously meaning we can get the 78 notes, but we can't get the extra 0.75 there, because that's not quite made it up to 200. So the total amount of notes we can get is 78. In October, Sally drove 560 miles in her car. The car travelled 34.5 miles for every gallon of petrol used. And then it gives us a cost of the petrol in litres, £1.8 per litre. And it gives us a conversion for gallons to litres. Work out the cost of the petrol in the car that she used in October. So, we've got 560 miles, and for every gallon it travelled 34.5 miles. Okay, so if we do our 560 miles, and we divide it by 34.5 miles, that will tell us how many gallons of petrol that we've used. So 560 divided by 34.5 tells us that we've used, oh, and it's not a very nice number at all, we get 16.2318, and it keeps on going, okay, gallons. So that's how many gallons of petrol that we've used. I'm going to leave that number on my calculator display. It says petrol costs £1.8 per litre, and 1 gallon is 4.55 litres. Well, that's how many gallons that we've used. So if we turn that into litres, because every 1 gallon is 4.55, so we times that by 4.55. That's going to turn it into litres for us. So I've left my number on the calculator. I'm going to times it by 4.55, and it still gives me quite a horrible number here. We get 73.855072, and a lot more numbers there left over, but that's going to be in litres. There we go. Now it says that petrol costs £1.8 per litre, so if we've used this many litres, we can again just times this by the amount of the cost there, so times £1.08p, because now it's in litres, so times £1.08, and we get a total cost here. It's not very nice again, but we get £79, and to the nearest penny, so that's not a 7, £79 and 76 pence. Okay, it's 763, but obviously we've got to round that to the nearest penny there to get our cost. So £79 and 76 pence. Quite nasty words in there, but it says she drove 560 miles and she got 34.5 miles for every gallon. So we were able to work out how many gallons she must have used. Not a very nice number, so always leave the number on your calculator display. We're then able to turn that into litres by timesing it by 4.55, the conversion there. And then once we had it in litres, we could work out the cost. Again, just leaving all those horrible digits on your calculator display. On to question 23. It says, on Monday, 3 shop owners buy mints. They buy them in small, medium or large packs, and then it gives us 3 options. We've got Alan, who's the first one, Beryl is our second one, and Charlie is our third person there, and it gives us lots of information about them. So Alan buys 400 packs of mints, 32% are small and 40% are large. So it's up to you. We could work out these percentages and then work out the medium from there, but ultimately it says work out the total number of medium packs these 3 shop owners buy. So the percentage that's going to be medium, let's have a look, 40 plus 32 gives us 72%. So we could just say, okay, well, 28% of those are medium. Okay, now a quick way of doing that, we can just times it by 0.28. So very quickly we can actually work that out because we've got a calculator. But obviously you could work out 10%, 1% and build it up. Let's just do it in a nice quick way. 400 times 0.28 gives us 112. So there's our first person. Alan buys 112 medium ones. Let's have a look at the next one. Beryl buys 500 packs, 3/10 are small, 1/10 are large, so in total that's 4/10. So there must be 6/10 that are medium. There you go. Again, so let's work out 6/10. So 1/10 divided by 500 divided by 10 is 50. Times that by 6 for 6/10, and that gives us 300 medium packs that Beryl buys. And on to the last person. Charlie buys 150 small packs of mints, and small to medium is in the ratio 3:4. So we've got a ratio in here as well. Let's have a look. We've got small to medium 3:4, and it says he buys 150 small. There we go. So to multiply 3 to 150, I'd have to times it by 50. So if we do the same to the 4, times that by 50 as well, we get 200 packs there. Not very nice, but there's 200 for the medium. Lots going on in this question. So all we need to do is add all those together. So 112 plus 300 plus 200 gives us a total of 612 medium packs. And again, that's showing all our working there. Again, lots of ways you could approach that. We could have done different ways with Alan there. We could have maybe done different ways with Beryl. We could have worked out 3/10 and 1/10 and taken it away, but I was just trying to think of the quickest way of doing that. Right, now we're moving on to a Venn diagram. So this symbol here means all the numbers that go into the set, so we've got to put all those numbers in, and then it tells us what numbers are in A and B. And the first thing you should notice is that 6 is in both, so if we get rid of the 6's in all our lists and stick 6 in the middle, and let's have a quick check, are there any others in both? Yes, there's a 9, so there's also a 9 in both, so 9 can go in the middle as well. Now that only leaves 2 for set B, so let's get rid of 2, and 1 and 5 for set A. And again, we can get rid of the 1 and the 5 now, there we go. And that leaves us with 3, 4 and 7 left to go in the rest. And I've just noticed also there's an 8 in A as well. I haven't put that in, have I? There we go, so 8 goes in A as well. Just be very, very careful there. You check them off, and that's the reason you cross them off. So if you do miss one, you can spot that. So we've completed the Venn diagram. Then it says, find the probability that the number is in A, N, B. Now that N there means the intersection. And the intersection is the little crossover point, these numbers here in the crossover. So 6 and 9, there are 2 numbers, the probability, out of, let's just count how many numbers there are, 1, 2, 3 on the outside, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so 2 out of 9. So the probability of picking one of those 2 in the middle is 2 out of 9. Just remember, you could have been asked the other way, you could have been asked for the probability with a U, and that means the union, and that's everything within the circle, so everything in A and B, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there, so that could have been 6 out of 9. Right, Katie invests £200,000 in a savings account for 4 years and it's a compound interest rate of 1.5%. Calculate the total amount at the end of 4 years, and that's the total amount of interest. So we've got to be careful here. We can get the answer for how much money she's got quite quickly. We can do 200,000, we times it by 1 point when we're increasing for compound interest, 0.15 for 1.5%, and then we can do that to the power of 4. So for 4 years, it will just multiply it for us. So 200,000 times 1.015 all to the power of 4 on the calculator gives us quite a large number here. We've got 212272.71 to the nearest penny, and that is 212,272 pounds and 71 pence. Now it does say calculate the total amount of interest. Well, we started with £200,000, so we need to take away the original amount that we put in. So take away the 200,000, all on the calculator, minus 200,000, and that leaves us with a total answer here of £12,272 and 71 pence. And that's what we write down there. Just got to be careful on that question that you actually do read the question. It wanted the amount of interest, so £12,272 71. The next question is the height of 80 plants, and we've got it given in this grouped frequency table. So find the class interval that contains the median. So we're having a look which one of these groups here is the middle one going to lie in. So if it's 80 plants, we'll do 80 plus 1 and halve it to find out what the middle number is, and that's going to be 40.5. So we're going to just go down the list and find out where this 40.5th plant is. So at the moment we've got 7, add in the 13 we get to 20. Add in the 14, we're up to 34, and add in the 12, we're up to 48. Now we've gone beyond 40.5 in this column here. We weren't quite there on the one above, but we're on this one. So that's going to be this interval here, which is 40 to 50. And you just write it down exactly as it says it there, 40 to 50. There we go. And the last one, part of this, is asking us to draw a frequency polygon. Now this is the best one for us to draw. We've just got to remember how to draw it. So all you do is you put the midpoints of these classes here. So in between 10 and 20 is 15, 20 and 30 is 25, 35, 45 and so on. And we're just going to plot those numbers there, the midpoints, against these frequency numbers on the right. So the first one there is 15 to 7. So I'm going to have to keep it going up and down for this one, but 15 and 7, just be very, very careful. You read the scale here, and if you have a look, every 2 squares goes up 1. So from 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9, there's 10. So just be very careful you read them. But there you go, there's our first one. see if we can do a few at a time here. 25 to 13, and then we've got 14. There we go, so 25 to 13, 1, 2, 3, and the next one there is 14, which goes here, again in the midpoints, and our last few there we've got 12, 16 and 18. So 12 would be here, 16 would then go up to there, and the final one, which is 18, just make sure you draw those nice and carefully. 18 is 15, 16, 17, 18, just there. And then with the frequency polygon, you just go from this first point here, and we're going to join it up to the last point here. Straight lines, like a dot to dot with a ruler and a pencil. So straight line, 1, 2, finish it off, and there's your frequency polygon. Obviously we don't want these arrows here, but there's your frequency polygon drawn. The next one here, we've got a graph. It's asked us to write two things that are wrong or misleading with the graph. So misleading is good, because if you have a look down the bottom here, that's pretty misleading. It doesn't say what it is, so there's no labels. It's very bizarre that it goes 2, 3, 4 and maybe not 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would write something along the lines of the numbers here are misleading. Okay, we've got no labels, or it's not clear. Okay, so no labels and not clear. There's a few things that we could write for this one, but another one that I just spotted when I looked at it is these numbers here. Look, so it goes up in 0.5s, but for some reason 9.5 is missing. There should be a 9.5 there, so 9.5 is missing as well. So there's some quite good ones to do. 9.5 missing. Okay, on the y-axis, or we could say, let's have a look, what's it called, on number of visitors. On the number of visitors. There we go, so 9.5 missing on the number of visitors. Right, next one we've got a hexagon. Now it says it wants us to find the missing angle AFE. So A to F to E is this one here. Now it gives us some information. It says it's a hexagon, and it says it's a line of symmetry. So our line of symmetry can only be going straight down the middle here, and that tells us that the angles on the left are the same as the angles on the right. So straight away it tells us this one here is 117, the same as the one just next to it. Then it gives us some more information down here. It says angle ABC is 117, that's given to us on the diagram, and it says BCD is double CDE. So that's this piece of information here, but we don't actually know what those angles are, so we're going to have to use a little bit of algebra here, or perhaps we could use some ratios. I'm going to decide to use algebra. Again, you could use a bit of trial and error, but I think this is a little bit easier. So BCD, which is B to C to D, this one, is double CDE, this one here. So if this one's x, this one up here would be 2x. And again, that means this would be 2x, and this one down here would be x as well, because obviously there's that line of symmetry. So if we can work out what all these x's add up to, then we can figure out what one of them is. Now if we count them all up, we've got 2, 4, 5, 6 x's. So I just need to know, what do those 6 x's equal, what do they add up to? And we're going to do that by thinking about angles in a hexagon. So to work out the total amount of angles in a hexagon, you could do your little counting rule. So a triangle's 180. I should probably put 3 next to that. There we go. A 4-sided shape is 360. 5-sided shape, add another 180 is 540. And a hexagon, a 6-sided shape is 720. So we're looking for angles that add up to 720, and we've already got that 2 of them here are 117. So if we add those two together, 117 plus 117, we get a total there of 234 degrees. Okay, so all we have to do now is work out, okay, well, what's left over? So 720 here is what we know they have to add up to. Take away the 234 that we've actually got, and again you can do this on the calculator, so take away 234, that leaves us with 486 degrees left over split between these angles. So 6x has to equal 486, and if we divide that by 6 to get the value of 1x, we get 81 degrees for our value of x. There we go, and we can just label that in, so the x is down the bottom, these are 81, and double that gives us 162 for the 2x. There we go. So our answer for the one that it's asking for, this one here, is 162. So it was actually asking for AFE, wasn't it, this one here? So the one on the left is the same as the one on the right. So our answer is 162 degrees. There you go. That's one way of doing it. There is another way of doing it as well. We could have thought, okay, well, this side here, just the 1/2 As it's half of the hexagon, that's got to add up to 360. We've already got that one of them's 117, so take away 117. That leaves us with, let's have a look, 360 take away 117. That leaves us with 243. And then again, it's in the ratio 1 to 2 or x to 2x. So if it's in the ratio 1 to 2, you could actually use ratios instead. So you could divide it by 3. And 243 divided by 3 gives you 81. And again, you could just do it like that. So 3 parts in total. 243 divided by 3 equals 81. And then again, just labelling it 81 and 162. But there's our final answer, 162, whichever way you decide to approach that there. Right, we've got a cylinder. It says that Jeremy has to cover 3 tanks with paint. Each tank is in the shape of a cylinder with a top and bottom, and each tank has a diameter of 1.6 and a height of 1.8 given to us on the diagram. He has 7 tins of paint, and each tin of paint covers 5 metre squares. Is he going to be able to cover the 3 tanks? Well, the first thing that I would probably work out, the easiest thing here, is how much paint he has, which is 7 lots of 5 metre squared. So he has 35 metre squared worth of paint. So that's what we're going to compare it against. Does he have enough paint to cover these tanks? Are they going to be more than 35 metre squared, or are they going to be less? So let's have a look. Working out the surface area of the cylinder then. We've got the circles, okay, and area equals pi r squared. So we can work out the 2 circles quite quickly. Just be careful because that's the diameter. So the radius is 0.8. So if we work out the area of the circle, we get pi times 0.8 squared. And working that out in the calculator, pi times 0.8 squared gives us an answer of 2.0106 and a few more decimals, and we've got 2 of those circles, one on the top and one on the bottom, so let's double that straight away. So times that by 2 again on the calculator, and you get 4.0212, again a few more decimals. Now that's the circular face, the top one and the bottom one. Now we just need to work out the curved part around the outside. So if we work that out, let's have a look. Now if we think of that curved part being unwrapped, it's almost like a rectangle. It says it's got a height of 1.8, and the distance here, okay, the length is the circumference of the circle, which you work out doing the pi times diameter. So we can work that out. Pi times the diameter is 1.6, so pi times 1.6 gives us a length across the bottom here of 5.0265, and now we can actually work out the area of this rectangle. So multiplying these 2 lengths together, 5.0265 times 1.8, there we go, that gives us the answer, or an area here of 9.04778, and again I've worked that out there just by doing 1.8 multiplied by 5.0265, and that's given the area there. So we've got 2 areas, we've got to add those 2 together to get the full surface area of this cylinder. So we've got 9.04778, add the 4.0212, and that gives us a total area of this cylinder, total surface area of 13.0689, and again there's a few more decimals there. Now that's the surface area of one cylinder, and it says that Jeremy has to cover 3 tanks. So all I need to do is multiply that by 3 now. So if we multiply that by 3 for the 3 tanks, we get a total surface area of 39.2069. Okay, so we've got the total area. It was in metres, so let's put some units in now, metre squared. And he had 35 metre squared of paint, which we worked out right at the start. So he has to cover 39, he only has 35, so we would say no, okay, because he has to cover 39 and he only has 35. So no, Jeremy doesn't have enough. It was Jeremy, wasn't it? Let's have a look. Was it Jeremy? Yes, Jeremy. Okay, so no, Jeremy doesn't have enough. There you go, backed up by working out any numbers there. Solving some simultaneous equations, so we need to make the y coefficient, the number in front of y, the same. Now to do that, sometimes we have to multiply both. It looks like if we multiply the bottom one by 2, that's going to give us a 4y there, ignoring the signs for the moment. So let's multiply the bottom one. I'll just rewrite the top one. 3x minus 4y equals 11. I'm going to label them as well, 1 and 2, so I can talk about one at a time. And then let's multiply that second one. So 9x times 2 is 18x. 2y times 2 is 4y, there's a plus between them, and then 5 times 2 equals 10. Now you've got two rules now, same signs subtract, or different signs add, or you might have learnt your own ways of doing this, and we've got different signs here, one's a minus, one's a plus, so we add them together. So add them together, 18 plus 3 is 21x, minus 4y, add y is 0, so that's gone, that's the whole reason we're doing it, and then 11 plus 10 is 21. Oh, that's quite nice and simple now. Divide by 21, and we get x equals 1. So there is that first part of our answer, x equals 1. And now we just need to sub that into one of these equations to find the value of y. So let's go for that. Let's do this to the side. So sub x equals 1. And I'm going to sub it into equation 2. Purely because it has the plus sign in there. So sub x equals 1 into equation 2. So subbing that in, we get 9 times 1 plus 2y equals 5. 9 times 1 is 9, so 9 plus 2y equals 5, and then we just need to solve this. So take away the 9 from both sides, we get 2y equals minus 4, and then divide by 2, and we get y equals negative 2. So there we go, there's our answer, x equals 1, and y equals negative 2 for that simultaneous equation. And that's the last question on the paper, so that's the end of that. So brilliant, if you enjoyed that, if it was helpful, please like, please comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you on another one.